Okay, there was a question coming from here. You remember the question? The question is, what's the difference between if everything, as indicated by the Buddha, as the third seal, that everything is of nature emptiness and selflessness, meaning that everything is subject real, nothing is from the object, everything is empty from the object side, everything is subject real. Then this flower is also subject real, nothing from the object. And the imagined flower is also subject real, this which we know, imagined flower is not from the object. Then both the same. Both the same. Okay. Is there anyone who likes to give the answer? That yes, both the same, or yes, there's a difference? Anyone who likes to give an answer?
Maybe the only difference is on the Zoom component, the המצרף של הצורה, the Zoom component, that it has a form. And everything else, is imagine concept, of course, is subjective, and perception is subjective, and everything after, liking, disliking, everything is subjective. But the supposedly real flower also has a form.
Has a form. It has a form, substance there.
A form that, like you said, everyone whose eyes are working can agree about.
Can agree, there's a form there. Okay. Okay, I would not really decide on this part. So what we can say is that there's a form there, right? And I would not disagree with you, nor will I go to the extent of saying that, okay, instead what I would say is that there is a distinction. What is that distinction? If it is form, the question would be, even this form, what do you call it, a form is there, this also comes from the subject.
There is a form that we can agree upon. There is a form that we can
agree.
Because also the imagined flower has a form.
So agree, look, this is very important. This is extremely important point raising. This is a very important point being raised here. Say the form. There's a form there, and this form which we all agree, you're getting it? We agree. So this we have to really think it very seriously. Why I'm saying this is that okay, by the way, what's the color of these slides? White.
Yellow, or
right? I say, we all put on the blue glasses and look at this light, what will you see? Blue light. Simply because we agree that this is blue, doesn't mean that it's blue. We can agree.
It's conventional.
We can agree, yet it may not exist. Simply because we agree doesn't mean that it exists. You're getting it? This is a very important point. Because one of why this question is coming up, why this is very important, is that people have a belief that there's something objectively there from the object. Because we all agree. This is the conception many people have. You're getting it? So therefore, this conception, unless you dissolve this conception, for us to understand about emptiness is very difficult. Anyone else who likes to give the answer? That this distinction, yes.
Maybe things like somewhere between objectiveness and subjectiveness, and the differences in the amount of subjectiveness. So
Wow,
in
okay.
the real flowers there is a little bit less subjectiveness than in the imaginary flower.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. So today we're studying philosophy separately? No? You do study philosophy. Well, that's amazing. You are going more closer towards the one set of philosophers who said the half-half. Right? Huh? Okay, the question is, what is the difference between this flower, the purple flower in my right hand, and the imaginary yellow flower in my left hand? What's the difference? If both are subjectively real, what's the difference? So the answer, your name?
Tanya.
What Tanya says is that this flower, it has subjectivity there, but it's not 100% subjective. There's some degree of subjectivity there, some degree of objectivity there, whereas this imaginary flower is 100% subjective. This difference. Okay, this is an honest answer. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, now to be very, because we are, anyone else?
One function of flower, one the other function is of the imaginary flower.
Okay, so the one functions as a flower, other does not function as a flower, right? Is this what you're saying? Okay, this is a good point, right? Okay, one thing that I like to share with you here, this is a very important point. For that matter, two questions to keep in mind. One, do things exist? What's the answer? Hey, do things exist?
Yes,
Huh? Do things exist? Hey, cheesecake exists, not exist? Israel exists, not exist? Right? Are we existent, not existent? If it's not existent, you fall into nihilism. Right? You should say, no, it does not exist. We fall into nihilism. So what we are studying is not nihilism. We are studying emptiness, which should be the middle way. You getting it? So two questions. First question is, do things exist? What is your answer?
Yes.
Very good. I'm happy. Yes. Only if you say yes, then you are entitled to give the answer to the second question. Second question is, do things exist objectively?
No.
No. Very good. Only if you say no to the second question, you are getting towards emptiness. You're getting it? Okay. So with this, now the distinction is that say cause-effect relationship. Cause-effect relationship is possible with the flower in my right hand. Cause-effect relationship makes no sense with the imaginary flower in my left hand. You're getting it?
Yeah.
Both are subjectively real. Both are subjectively real. Nothing exists from the object. Within the domain of the subjectivity, some follow cause-effect relationship, some do not follow cause-effect relationship. Those which follow cause-effect relationship, they are known as illusion-like. Those which do not follow cause and effect, they are known as illusion. This is the difference between illusion and illusion-like. Both, why they are both given the same label, illusion, is because both share one in common. That is, both are subjectively real. Nothing exists objectively. Nothing exists objectively. As Tanya says, right? But she says that there's some degree of objectivity there. So this, if you feel this, if you really wholeheartedly feel this, you are actually going into deep thinking. If you go to deep thinking, then you go deeper analysis, you will get to the emptiness, right? So for us, idea is not to follow blindly. Not to follow blindly. See how much you can objectively understand. And if you think that, oh, there's some degree, something is there from the object, although it's subjectively real, but some degree of objectivity is there, even that thought is very precious. So with this thought, you don't feel complacent. Don't feel complacent, meaning don't feel satisfied. Okay, I understood something that, there's subjectivity there, but there's some degree of objectivity. Don't feel complacent. Keep exploring more. Keep exploring more. You will get there, right? And this is very precious to form your own ideas, to form your own thoughts is very precious. Yes, Shaha.
Kishila, you said those things that follow the cause and effect relationship are non-illusion-like, and those that are not are non-illusion. If there is phenomena like
Permanent
phenomena
phenomena.
and
Okay.
the Buddha and so forth, which are
Shaha, you came here to create complication to me? Okay, did you, are you following what the Shah is saying? What Shah is saying is that the phenomena, they're two impermanent and permanent. Impermanent phenomena, they follow cause and effect relationship, whereas permanent phenomena doesn't follow cause and effect relationship. So, how can you say that what is the permanent phenomena is also illusion, is not illusion-like? Okay, this is not what I'm saying. I'm comparing this flower, not all objects. I'm comparing this flower and the imaginary flower. I'm not comparing this flower with the permanent phenomena, right? These two things, both, we label this with this flower, label this with a flower. One is imaginary flower, one is real flower. What's the difference, right? Both are subjectively real. What's your name? Ingrid. Okay, so what Ingrid said is that both are subjective. If both are subjectively real, how can you distinguish between the two things? Right? That one is illusion and one is illusion-like, one is real. How can you distinguish? So for that matter, I'm distinguishing. Given that two things are impermanent, two things fall under the category of impermanence, like a flower. So both, if this flower, why not the other one's also flower? Because this is just coming from the mind. Just as it's coming from the mind. If this is not a flower, this should not be also a flower, because this is not objectively real, this is just coming from the mind. Right? So when this question is asked, then the answer is that one is a flower and one is not a flower. One which has the cause-effect relationship following is a flower. One which does not have the cause-effect relationship, it's just imaginary, it's not a flower. This is the distinction that I made. Okay, Leora?
What does it mean the real flower has a certain degree of objectivity? What does it mean from the Islamic point of view, a certain degree of objectivity?
Okay, this is a very serious question.
Can you repeat?
Okay, the question is, so what Tanya said, right? What Tanya said is that the difference between these two is, okay, by the way, did you get the answer? Answer is that this flower follows cause-effect relationship. This is purely subjective, but it follows cause-effect relationship. Meaning that this flower, if I squeeze it, it will not remain as a beautiful flower. Imagine a flower, I squeeze it, it becomes even more beautiful. Right? This does not follow cause-effect relationship, whereas this follows cause-effect relationship. The one which follows cause-effect relationship is the flower. One which does not follow cause-effect relationship is the imaginary flower. This is the distinction between the, while both are equally subjectively real, but one is a real flower and the other is not a real flower on that basis. Now the second question is, what Leora is asking is the degree of objectivity, right? So this flower, what we said is that everything is subjectively real, nothing is objectively real. Now, what the Tanya is bringing up is some degree of objectivity. Say, for example, if I say that, oh, this flower exists subjectively. And you say you're following the highest Buddhist philosophy. You say that this flower exists objectively, 100% objectively, no, subjectively, 100% subjectively. And I say that it exists subjectively, but only 50% subjectively. 50% subjective, then 50% remaining 50% objective. So there is some degree of objectivity accepted not by Prasangika but by the lower schools. Savatantrika Madhyamika. You getting it? And when we go into the pursuit of this analysis, this meditation, this inquiry, we are bound to our understanding is bound to reach this level, to accept some degree of objectivity, right? Although verbally, orally, we may always, we say that, oh, everything is subjective, but deep inside, we still have a feeling that some degree of objectivity is there. You getting it? So what's coming to your mind, if you're able to articulate it, that is so precious. So precious. On that basis, then you reject it, and then you will reach the Prasanga's view. Okay, very good. Any more questions before we go any further? Yes, dear?
The flower, there is material, physical material, like atoms or whatever, it's built from, so it is real material, objective material, versus the imaginary, there is no material there. So I cannot understand that everything is only subjective.
Okay. Okay, so these thoughts must come, right? That this flower is made of atoms. There's some material there, atoms. And atoms are made of electrons, protons, neutrons, right? So there's something there. So there's some objective basis there. So that is what constitutes the flower. So how can you say that this flower is purely subjectively real? This is the question. You getting it? Okay. This is a very important question. So like these thoughts when they come to you, even though you study emptiness for an extended period of time, if these thoughts come, you must be explicit. Meaning that you must express, and if possible, you must bring up these questions to whosoever you have to ask. You getting it? This is very important. You ask this question to me. If I cannot give the answer, don't worry. You must look for the answer. This is very important. You're getting it? So only if you are able to see that even these atoms, they are also subjectively real, right? Only if you get this answer, then you will get the real answer of emptiness, and this will free you from the fears of life. That is very important. Okay. Any more questions? Yes, over there? Iris?
Geshe, it's not about the flowers.
Huh?
It's about something else. It's not about the flowers.
Fine.
Could you please explain the relationship between the 4 seals and the 4 applications of mindfulness? If you can please clarify.
No, this is the main. This we have to do. This is the main structure of the... Yeah, this don't worry. Okay. Your name? Huh?
Nimrod.
Limod. Huh?
I wanted to ask, so is it true that the cause and effect is 100% objective?
Which one?
Is that the concept of cause and effect is not only objective, right?
Cause and effect is also subjective.
So how can we deduct from that things are objective?
Huh? There's nothing existing objectively.
Okay, but if the cause and effect does not exist objectively, so we all see different cause and effect, so we cannot distinguish between imaginary and true things, right? So it must be objective, otherwise the argument doesn't stand.
So, okay. So what do you say?
The very concept of cause
Very
and effect
concept of cause and
must
effect
be
is
100% objective, otherwise we cannot distinguish between the partially subjective and the less subjective things, because even, right?
no partially subjective, less subjective. This is Tanya's philosophy.
Sorry. We have subjective things that relate to cause and effect, right? And then we have subjective things that do not relate to them. As we said, I can imagine a flower that will relate differently to the way I cut it into two, right?
Yes.
So if the cause and effect itself is not 100% objective, so each and every single one of us see the things which does relate to cause and effect relate in different ways. So we cannot distinguish between both.
Okay.
It must be, right?
Did you all follow the question? The question is very good.
Okay.
Did you all follow the question? The question is, huh?
I think it's good to repeat the questions anyway because it's recording.
Yes. The question is very good. Just as the lady over there said, that the imaginary flower, the difference between the imaginary flower and the purple flower, imaginary yellow flower, we imagine this with varying sizes, with varying colors, right? With varying numbers of petals, and so forth. So imaginary, subjective means what you thought. Thought is, my thought and your thought is very different. If there are 100 people, 100 different thoughts. So cause and effect, if that is subjective, 100 different cause and effects should come into being. Which means my version of cause and effect may vary from your version of cause and effect, which may vary from your version of cause and effect, and so forth. You getting it?
Yes, but we come to agree all the time. Like instead of
No, what I'm saying, I'm reinforcing your question. I'm reinforcing your question. Paraphrasing your question. I'm saying that your question is very good.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay, so the point is that if this is how it is, then what I see as cause effect may not be cause effect with respect to you. What is cause effect for you may not be cause effect with respect to me, because my version of cause effect is different from yours. Because my version is my subjectivity, your version is your subjectivity. So how can we explain the cause and effect efficacy, accuracy of the cause and effect universally? This question, right? Okay, anyone who can give this answer? I came at the wrong time. Okay, here.
Is again, it's the conventional reality. We invent a concept that is called karma, cause and effect, and we say it explains, then we debate and everything. In reality, like in real subjective reality, there is no cause and effect.
Oh,
It's like it's
objective reality, there's no cause and effect. Subjective reality.
Okay. There is a conventional subjective reality of cause and effect.
Your name?
Michal.
Huh?
Michal.
Michal, you should not make me convince. You should make him happy. Are you happy?
Yes, but it doesn't waste
Okay.
That was the case. We didn't agree on cause and effect. We do agree on call it like a thing.
We agree about karma, the concept of karma, like
What come?
cause and effect. We agree about cause and effect, like we agree to call this thing he is holding a flower.
So what's the difference between imaginary flower and the tool?
And
And the subject.
one is a conceptual, conventional concept, and the other is supposedly an objective.
It's also conceptual. You agree upon the cause and effect.
Okay, good. So now the point is, this is, okay, your name again, I'm very sorry.
N-I-M-R-O-D.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
Okay, Nimrod. You are real Nimrod. Okay, good. So never suppress your question. Your question is, it must be encouraged, right? Never suppress question. And never think that there's no answer,
Okay.
right? Keep exploring. This is very important. Are you coming for the Yaghem retreat?
What?
The Yaghem Kibbutz Yaghem retreat? You're coming or not coming? Okay. If you're not there, don't worry, you can listen to the recordings. And there are many more recordings available on www.bodhiwisdom.org. BODHI, bodhiwisdom.org. All these explanations in great detail for hours and hours of descriptions. Bodhi, BODHI,
H-I-O-Y.
BODHI WISDOM, bodhiwisdom.org, O-R-G.
Thank you.
Welcome, Baba. Okay, so these questions, I'm very happy that there is a rigorous question answer happening. Okay, now first what I'm going to do is that I'll try to, from the quality of the questions coming up, from the quality of the questions coming up, I think I should do more on emptiness tomorrow, right? So what we can do is that we will quietly wind up, link the two connections, link the two things now, and then we can go more into emptiness tomorrow. But don't think that tomorrow you will get emptiness and Okay, we'll try best. And after having studied this tomorrow, one day, don't disclose this fact to other people. Don't tell other people that we study Emptiness for one day. Right? People will be shocked because people study this for 20 years into 600 and 365 years into like at least 10 hours. Right? So therefore, one day, how many hours? Like 6 hours. Like 6 or 5 hours, people will be shocked. Right? Okay. So the point is that now what we are doing is about the reality. About reality. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. Everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Okay. So now let's say, what is number 4?
Nirvana is peace.
Okay, number 4, there are several versions, but don't go for the short one. Full form, transcending sorrow is absolute peace, or transcending sorrow is nirvana. Right? Okay, transcending sorrow is nirvana. Okay, now the point is, what is the benefit of understanding that everything is subjectively real? Everything is subjectively real. Meanwhile, don't forget, I'm reiterating this. What Ania said? Your name? Yahel. What Yahel said, these two are very important points, right? We cannot just rule out these two thoughts because these two thoughts are what we are bound to go through. And unless we get out of this, we'll never reach emptiness. So therefore, these two thoughts are very precious. Right? Okay. Now, let's say that, okay, same, if I ask you, okay, what am I doing? Drinking water. Drinking water. And some of you may say that he is drinking H2O. And others may say that he is drinking electrons, protons, and neutrons. Which is correct? Huh? All are correct. Okay. Okay. Cheesecake. Right? What are you eating? I'm eating cheesecake. What are you eating? I'm eating carbon dioxide. Right? And H2O all mixed together. Right? Okay, what are you eating? I'm eating electrons, protons, neutrons. Okay, which of 3 answers are correct? All are correct. While all are correct, your emotional response is very different. If you think that you're eating cheesecake, there's such a joy and happiness there. If you think you're eating just carbon dioxide and the H2O all mixed together, there's not much fun. And if worse is if you think that you're eating electrons, protons, neutrons, there's no fun. Right? Okay. So therefore, while all 3 are correct, but the emotional response is very different. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Okay. Now, do you think that the cheesecake, what are the bakers? What do we call those people who bakes? Huh? Bakers. Well, let's say the cheesecake bakers. Don't expect that the cheesecake bakers are philosophers. Don't expect that, right? Tell me, who knows the best about the cheesecake in this world? Cheesecake bakers or the physicists or philosophers? Cheesecake bakers, right? Huh? Okay, don't think that cheesecake bakers, they are the philosophers. Okay, now, say your mother brings the cheesecake freshly from the cheesecake baker and gives it to you. And then there's a physicist there, a philosopher there, right? Hey, what are you giving? The philosopher will say that she's, okay, you say, Prasangic philosopher, highest philosopher, who said she's doing subjectively some cheesecake.